Hello guys, this is Pedram Raufi and you're watching the Daily Markets Review. During today's program, we are going to check the situation in the market. We are going to find some solutions for tradings between sessions during the day and for intraday day traders as well. We are going to check the news background of this week and we are going to see what kind of predictions are still on the market and what kind of predictions we have for the future of any assets about which we heard some news today. So we are going to check the indexes, the stock market indices of the United States. We're going to check the Forex pairs, and of course we are going to check the cryptocurrency main pairs which we have on our platform. So please watch till the end of the program. At the end, we're going to check the Bitcoin, Ethereum prices as well. For today, first of all, we're going to check the calendar, the economic calendar, and see what kind of releases we have. Andrew Bailey, the head of Bank of England, is going to speech. He had a speech actually, and he's going to speak at the evening at 8:15 p.m. That is going to be all about inflation. It's going to be all about the interest rate hike in the United Kingdom. As you know, United Kingdom actually going to hike the interest rates first day, and it's going to actually realize it really sooner than United States or European Union. So the situation with pound would be more stable anyway, but there's some suspicions that Andrew Bailey just yesterday told that it's a better way to fight with inflation by lowering the earning, so lowering the salaries. So if they're going to do something like that, actually it's gonna help the markets to maybe fight with really high prices. And the only person that is against this kind of idea is the Minister of Finances of Great Britain, Sunak. So would they actually approve this protocol? Could they actually do something like that? I'm not really sure, but this kind of monetary policy tightening won't really help pound prices to rise, and simultaneous rise of dollar prices, the dollar United States dollars index as well during next months won't really give a pound to hike so fast. So we have to actually just pay attention to these factors and pay attention that today we have another releases from the United States, the core CPI index that is going to slow down, which is not really good for dollar prices. Initial jobless claims, which is going to get lower. And as you know, if initial jobs claims is get lower, it's really good for economy. It means that Federal Reserve System could really tighten the monetary policy because the market is ready, job market is ready, so they can go for monetary policy tightening. But the most important thing, the most important news which we really need to pay attention on, as you know, all of the monetary policy hiking, Federal Reserve interest rate hiking, and monetary policy tightening. Many different banks and many different analysts during previous month and this month actually told and said too many things about the monetary policy tightening of the United States and of course the interest rate hiking as well. But there are many of resources believe in that Federal Reserve System is going to hike the interest rates 4 or 5 times, which is too much. And different type of analysts believe in that interest rate hiking is going to not to be only 25, 0.25%, would be 0.50% in one hiking. And that's not a really good news. But just yesterday, one of the Federal Reserve System member, the head of Atlanta Federal Reserve System, Mr. Bostic, told that he don't believe that interest rate hiking in the United States is going to happen so fast. It's not going to happen 6 times or 5 times. It's going to happen maximum 3-4 times during this year. And this kind of prediction make us to believe that markets are going to maybe lower the risk of the stock market weakening during the year. So we all know that when monetary policy is tightening, there would be less money on the market, so the buybacks and stock buyings is under danger, is really under pressure. So any kind of monetary policy tightening or interest rate hiking is against the market, against the stock market. And this kind of prediction is kind of positive. So this would mean that maybe the positive situation which we have nowadays on the, for example, S&P 500, due to the chart of S&P 500, the main index of the United States stock market, and the industrial index of the United States stock market, Dow Jones, is more realistic and is kind of going to continue. Due to the daily chart, for example, if you look, both of these indexes continuing the rise, and both of them have a potential to continue this upward movement in the near future and in the future as well. So due to all of these positive factors, there's more likely to observe the continuance of upward movement of S&P 500 and Dow Jones. But we actually have to pay attention that because of the really low impulse which we have here, a really low amplitude of the candles on the 4-hour chart, we need to actually realize that this kind of movement is not really powerful, so it could get dumped, it could get into a consolidation. It could get to something like this, for example. This is not a consolidation, this is a expanding formation. After formation of which, after the appearance of which, prices actually start to reverse. So we just need to understand that for today and for the nearest sessions, maybe we are going to have some downward correctional movement, but it would be really just retest 4,500, 4,500, and then it's going to maybe continue the upward movement. So we just need to wait for the retest of 4,500 at least. And for now, as we know, due to the RSI oscillator situation, actually we don't have any kind of divergence here between maximums and the line of the oscillator, but there still be a probability of reversal, and this reversal could especially happen in the case of nearest upward impulse and the breakthrough of 4,600, 4,650. So if we really break through 4,600, 4,650 in the near future, in the nearest session, during this session or next session, because of this accumulation of energy here, I'm telling you, because of this accumulation of the energy on 4-hour chart, if we get any kind of impulsive upward movement with one candle breaking through 4,600, 4,650, this could really rise the probability of next reversal. So this in such a case, you will get more reason to maybe start the short positions, but all of these short positions, you need to know that they are correctional and they're going to finish somehow after the retest of 4,550. 4,500. And for Dow Jones situation would be exactly the same. Mainly the $36,000, $36,200, maybe they are going to get retested. But after the retest of this level, we could get reversed as well. And especially if the retest of these levels are happening impulsively with one impulse and the closure of next candle a little bit lower than previous candle, this would really mean that we are getting ready for reversal. And pay attention that in the case of prices hiking, prices upward movement, any kind of volatility shrinking in the form of a wedge, in the form of a flag during the upward movement and in one direction with upward movement, this kind of formations are really signaling probability of reversal. So here we should actually wait for some impulsive upward movement in the nearest sessions, which is speculative mainly. And after this kind of speculation, we really could get into a bearish market for some sessions, and then after the test of 35,500, 35,200, they're going to get reversed and continue the upward movement. So for buyers, maybe we could get this index here near to 35,000, 35,500 or 200. We need to just get it and start getting to long positions. Better to get in them after the test of this range. What kind of situation we have today with dollar indexes? Dollar indexes, look here, is really beautiful, really beautifully showing us on the daily chart mainly that this kind of impulsive retest, for example, which we had, is a false breakthrough actually. It's a false breakthrough. We're getting near, for example, to the local maximum, to the local resistance of, for example, 96.80, 97. And after the impulsive retest of this level and the formation of this kind of fractal, especially formation of this kind of fractal, we had a really good situation to just get into sells and just sell till prices are getting near to local support of 95.50, 95.60, around which we are now located. So this kind of breakthroughs are really useful for trading, and just need to pay attention on them. Don't forget that you have different type of courses and different type of lessons about trading strategies by which you can actually get into a better trend, and you could actually find the trend and just get into it and don't really worry about any kind of unrational price action, because all of the things that we can see, we can analyze due to the candlesticks patterns, due to some formations on the charts. They're really meaningful, and you just need to learn them. So don't forget to check our website, check our official website, and find this information about our courses and about our packages which we have with different type of instruments in each of them, and mostly they are really good and useful for learning how to do these things, and as well will give you some additional instruments to just trade by the help of our platform with our broker of Gerchik Co. And they're really helpful, they're really good, they're really useful. So don't forget to check this information on the official website. So as we see, dollar now is exactly showing us that the accumulation of energy here, showing us that we could get another speculative downward impulse, but we don't really need to believe in it. We don't really need to believe in it, and this downward impulse could really end after the test of 95 or 94.50. So 95, 94.50 is a range which could get retest in the nearest sessions, in the 2-day sessions. Due to the 4-hour chart, this accumulation is more observable. For sellers, it would be, for this session sellers, it would be really better to just wait for an impulsive retest of 95.80, 96, and after that start the short, maybe after the retest of this local maximum, because this could be a short-term intraday impulsive upward movement, speculative upward movement, after which we could get, for example, retest 95 or 90, 95 or 94.80, and just after that gets consolidated and again return to the upward trend. So due to the scale of your trading, you should know that how price could really continue to move and in which direction. So it's all of these things, all of this analysis on different scales of different charts, different time frames are meant for make you understand the situation on that scale which you are targeting. For example, for if you are a mid-term trader, if you are a short-term trader, or a long-term investor, for example. So situation with dollar for next sessions, for next days, it could be downward, but in nearest time, in the nearest today's hours, I think that price could really make some upward impulsive movements. And next comes the Forex pairs: Euro, Pound, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. We actually analyze them every day and on every session. And they got a kind of a mild correlation, positive correlation with the stock market. And of course, the opposite correlation with the United States dollar. So Euro, Pound, Australian dollar, and New Zealand dollar, all of them are showing us that they're kind of retesting the local maximum due to the midterm chart, due to the 4-hour chart. And as you know, it would mean that during next sessions, maybe during some next days, 1 or 2 or 3, we could get some upward impulsive movement. And what would go on after this kind of movement, we don't really know. But we just know that due to this kind of accumulation of energy here, due to this kind of shrinking of volatility, due to this kind of pressure, when price is getting pushed to some level, and here we have a really important mirror level of of 0.67, and the retest of this level could be really impulsive, and it could be really speculative. So it would make you all think that, oh, it's a really good time for bulls to get into the long positions. But you just need to know, due to the scale of 4-hour chart, here we have the chance of upward movement, maybe maximum to 0.6740, 0.6740, 0.6720. They have to be your targets, and you just need to know that you have to work with 15-minute chart, 5-minute chart to just take this kind of movements. And it's really better to just wait for them to get to show you some signal before they actually happen. And this kind of potential here for New Zealand dollar, for example, exists. For Australian dollar as well, this kind of potential exists, and because of the pressure which we have here, because of the accumulation of energy which we have here, anyway, we have a shrinking volatility as well, which is a really good signal of reversal. But we just need to don't forget that prices always have the potential of speculative movements near to the borders of near to the local maximums or minimums, near to the local resistance or supports, near to the highs or bottom of the market of any scale. Prices have a chance to just make some speculative breakthroughs, make some false breakthroughs. And because of that, we can actually say that prices may be gonna make some speculative breakthrough, 0.7240, 0.7260 maximum, I don't think even. 0.7240, 0.7260, and after that, mainly they're going to reverse. So there is such a potential in Australian dollar as well, on the chart of Australian dollar. And Pound is already showing us that it's going to make some impulsive upward movement. Euro already showing us that here we have, because of this accumulation of energy, because of this amplitude pressure which we have, the volatility shrinking anyway, we have some probability of upward impulse which could really happen. So here 1.4080, 1.50, I'm sorry, 1.1480, 1.15, or 1. If you are conservative, 1.1490. It would be better to just after the test of this level, maybe you should watch how the candles are closing. Are they closing lower than each other, and are we really getting fixed under, for example, 1.1480 at least? So we could be more sure about the continuation of downward movement to 1.14, to 1.1380, 1360 in the nearest sessions, for example, due to the 4-hour chart. So next comes the commodity prices, gold prices, silver, and palladium as well. We have all of them are consolidating. Situation is really not of the best because of this volatility shrinking. I don't really believe in the continuation of upward movement. What helps gold to rise anyway? Any escalation of the situation in the world could help gold to rise. Could help the defensive assets, to help risk assets, as we say, commodity, to rise. But as you know, situation around Ukraine borders are kind of getting mild because of the latest briefing between French president and Russian president and Ukrainian president. And we saw that they are Macron is really getting near to his own presidential voting period. And because of that, it's kind of, I don't know, he actually went to Russia, went to Ukraine, and he kind of tried to de-escalate the situation. And due to the market's risk index lowering, we can actually say that maybe his briefing, his meeting was successful. That you need to know that, for example, Russia is kind of started new kind of war trainings in the Black Sea, and it's giving to Belarus the different type of arsenal and military equipment. So due to all of these factors, we have some chance of de-escalation, but you need to know that even Macron said that 2 or 3 months will last all of this discussions, and the situation would be, anyway, it would be not one of the soft one. It won't be really soft. The situation would be kind of remain rough, so we cannot really say that problem is solved. And due to another factor of gold or any defense assets, for example, silver or gold price is rising, one of the most important reasons is the trade war between the United States and China, which is now getting again, is kind of remaining on the markets. And previously, many resources told that Biden is kind of returned to this question, and he's asking Chinese authorities to just do what they already promised to do due to the trading war pact phase 1, due to the trading contract between the two countries, so they could de-escalate the situation. Is China going to realize all of this? I mean, all of these pacts or not? History and record shows that China is not really able to do this, and the main thing that really could make gold prices to rise a little bit or continue the upward movement in the future is the trade war, the escalation between China and the United States, which could get escalated in the future, but not now. For now, for today, gold is really retesting a really important level. We have some breakthrough due to 1 hour chart. Look at here, for example. We have some mirror level. Mirror levels are really important. 1,830 is a mirror level, which was a maximum and the minimum, which was a resistance and a support. And now prices have been retested this level, and amplitude of the price movements higher than this level, above this level, is getting lower and lower. This is a really good signal of a reversal. This kind of distancing between a fast moving average and a slow moving average of yearly moving average, and this one is a 50 days moving average. Between two of them, this is the kind of distancing would mean that prices are getting ready to kind of get some reversal movement. But as well, for speculators, for scalpers, for example, you just need to always know that prices could always make different type of surprises. So for any seller in the future, well, 1,840 have to be the level in the case of in the case of retest of which we could get reversed. And before the reversal, before the main reversal which we could have here, we just need to know that 1,840 is going to be retested, is going to get retested as well. But how is going to get retested? It's going to retest it from here with one candle to here. That's a really amazing chance for getting ready for reverse. If it happens with the impulse from here till here, it would be as well an amazing chance. But the nearest impulsive upward movement with a abnormal candle, with one candle which is bigger than the other ones, would really mean that prices are going to reverse next. So we have to pay attention on this as well. So here I'm telling that in midterm we are waiting for some reversal which could take a place here, which could happen here, and after we could get reversed. But before this reversal, there is a chance of upward impulses. So 1,840 is a level which could get retested first, and it could get retested speculatively with one big impulse, but you have to get ready for the next movement, which could be really reversal. How the silver prices are now shown, how they're moving, how they're acting. Shrinking of volatility, it's a really bad signal. Divergence, really bad signal for bulls. So even despite all of the signals, you should know that if near to the price we have any kind of important level, for example, here a level which is now retesting is kind of a mirror level, or the range which we have here in any ways, a kind of a mirror range between which we could really get stuck. But do we have any important level near to the prices? Let's see, $23.50 is a really amazing one. Let's say 23.40, 23.60 to be more accurate, because prices could really make a high, it could really get really high volatility when they are retesting target levels. So let's say the range of 23.40 cents, $23.60 is a range which could get retested before prices get reversed. So even despite this reversal signal of divergence between maximums and the RSI oscillator, and despite the volatility shrinking while price is rising near to the important resistance, despite all these factors, we just need to know that this range could get retested. So first, let's wait for the retest of this range, or if you're a scalper, you can actually work with this kind of movements in 5 hours, in 5-minute chart, 15-minute chart. So you could actually work with all of this if you're a scalper. But you just need to know that in the midterm, the retest of this range would cause some downward movement. United States dollar to Swiss franc, euro to Swiss franc, United States dollar to Japanese yen, and Japanese yen, Swiss franc are the risk assets as well. They are kind of commodities, and they are kind of the assets in which investors invest in the case of something bad happening with stock markets. For example, if some situation is really bad for stock market, many of investors are getting into these assets because they are the defensive assets, the defense assets, which you could get into to not to lose money if you are getting out of some asset which is now, for example, losing its positions. We don't have any signals of the nearest stock market downward impulses, and mainly this week could be not so bad for stock market. So anyway, defensive assets won't really rise so much, but dollar prices could rise. So dollar here to Swiss franc is showing us that consolidational movement here we have after the retest of 0.92. We could get retest this level again, and how impulsive this retest would be, this would be the signal of next reversal. If we are getting to just make a pressure to this level, or just push to this level, this would mean that prices are going to break through it and even go under this level. But in the case of this level's impulsive retest in the near future, or in the case of its level, if this level won't even get hurt or even get breakthrough, this would mean that prices are going to continue the upward move. I think that in the midterm, prices are going to continue the upward movement, but we just need to wait for some downward impulse, which could really happen here to 0.92. It's a really, really good level. It's a really good support under which you can actually sell, and above which you can actually buy. So we just need to see how prices are going to retest this level. I think that prices are going to retest this level with one impulse, with one big impulse, or some impulsive candles, and after that they are going to reverse. So with both of these movements, you can actually work. With first movement, which is a really impulsive movement, you can work by scalping. And with second movement, you just can get ready to get into better positions, better long positions when prices are located near to the bottom of the market. And euro to Swiss franc, which is showing us as well that prices have retested the local minimums. Some level which we have here, 1.050, let's say 1.055 is a level which have got retested. But look at this range above the blue range. I think that is better to buy, and under the red range it would be really better to sell. So due to this kind of movements, if nearest impulse, because we have an accumulation of energy, in the case of nearest impulse, we would know in which direction price would go further. So if in the nearest sessions we get an upward impulse, it would mean that prices are going to reverse downward, and which is as well realistic, so it looks realistic. But if we get any kind of downward impulses in the near future, and in the case of impulsive retest of 1.052 or 054, after this kind of scenario, we could get reversed and continue the upward movement. So pay attention on this as well. United States dollar to Japanese yen have made this impulsive movement already. Shrinking of volatility without any kind of really strong divergence. We have some mild divergence here, but if we get these maximums and these maximums, it's a kind of a midterm divergence. It's a really, again, I'm telling you, it's a really mild divergence. And when divergence is so mild, it would mean that prices have a little potential to continue the movement which are now they are, for example, continuing to rise or fall. And in this case, it's rising. And the potential of upward movement here exists. Here we have, it remains on the markets, a really important level of 116 and 116.40 could get retested. I mean, here, we could get retest 116, 116, 20, 40, but after the retest of these levels, after the impulsive retest of these levels, we could get into some correctional downward movement. Mainly, I believe in the continuation of dollar prices upward, moderate movement. But here, after the retest of the highs and after the retest of the maximums, mainly prices are going to do some correctional movement due to the scale in which they are located. What's going on with WTI? Oil prices have made a little correctional movement from yesterday, and you know the real reason was related to Macron, the French president, meeting with Russian and Ukrainian president about the de-escalation of the situation. Some kind of the magical way, he just went to Russia, went to Ukraine, and just after that, he just said that the problem is de-escalated. And we all know that he's doing this because he needs the votes to be the next president of France, because elections in France is getting or so soon going to happen. And because of the elections, it's actually this kind of positive things that people do, mainly it's related to that, to something that they need further to gain. So situation as well for today is escalated and nothing is changing anyway. We have 2 or 3 months, so the problem would solve or would not. And oil prices are not going to really react sharply to this kind of positive, unrealistic things. Because NATO and European Union as well said that Macron haven't really discussed the meeting with them, with presidents of Russia and Ukraine, which is not really reliable. So I think that fundamentally oil could really continue the upward movement. The main level due to the daily chart. Don't forget that we have a shrinking of volatility, but we don't have any kind of divergence. First, to get this divergence, we really need some upward sharp impulse. So mainly for the long term, for midterm, we are waiting for some upward and very sharp upward impulse, which could happen in the case of something wrong go on on the borders of Ukraine and Russia. And of course, if something wrong goes on in Middle East or even in the China Sea, but not China Sea, but due to the situation which we have with OPEC, OPEC is not really scared about oil prices, and they know, the members of cartel, they know that oil prices are going to rise anyway. They are actually rising the amount of oil supply, and the United States as well is kind of trying to rise this amount, but they can't because they have already closed many of reservoirs, and because of the pandemic, they just closed them because there were no need for such a big amount of oil and the supply of energy. But now it's needed. Now is the energy crisis, and they cannot really supply all of the amount that they need to supply to Europe, to the other countries. And here we have the European energy crisis. In this kind of cases, we have February, we have March. I think that at least we have 2 months. So during these 2 months, there's a really good potential for oil to continue the upward movement. But technically, don't forget that here on the daily chart, we have a really important level of $88 under which we can sell. So due to the situation which we have now, really impulsive downward movement. There is no formation of any type of, how can I say, fractal. We don't have any kind of fractal here. As you know, fractal is a candlestick formation which shows you the reversal. We don't have it yet. if we get under 88, 86, at least 86, the fractal would mean something, but not yet. We have some accumulation here. Maybe we are going to have some downward impulses, but mainly during next sessions, during next days, in the case of dollar price rising, we could get some downward impulses. But don't forget that any kind of downward impulses in the midterm for oil prices, it would mean that prices and market is getting ready to get into long positions again. And the main things that we are all waiting for is the continuance of upward movement. Some of the Forbes economists and businessmen just yesterday told that they believe that this year for oil prices is not going to really be the best year, and maybe prices are going to get dumped. But just this could happen as well, but it could really happen after prices retest 150, for example. After prices retest 120. And they could really retest these levels in the first half of this year. And here and now is February. So February, March, April, and the prices are really going to be there due to the escalation of situation, due to the energy crisis, due to the war escalation situation, I mean. And in the other way, of course, after the retest of this kind of highs, they could really start to moderately return to 80, return to 70, which is a norm of oil prices, due to the OPEC calculations. So before we get to 80 and 70 again, I think that we are going to break through 120, 150. So this is a long-term actual analysis. This is a mid-term analysis. But due to the short-term analysis, for now, we're waiting for some downward impulse. And after this downward impulse, we could get into the long positions again. So we are waiting for 86 to get retested, 84 to get retested. And after the retest of these levels, in the case of the impulsive retest of these levels, we could really get into the long positions, something like this, a really impulsive retest of this range, of the range of 84, 86. United States dollar to Canadian dollar. Canadian dollar has a straight and positive correlation with oil prices. When oil prices rising, Canadian dollar as well rises. And as you know, dollar prices to Canadian dollar prices is consolidating. And they're kind of getting pushed to the local minimums. But it means that dollar prices, United States dollar prices are under pressure because of the previous downward movement. If oil prices make any downward impulse, here we could get upward impulse. And if something like that happened, this would really mean that prices are going to continue the downward movement, the prices of this pair. But in the case of oil, the continuation of oil moderate growth in the future, here we could get lower, lower, and lower. I think that maybe prices in the near future are going to retest, speculatively retest 1.2640. But in this kind of speculation, this kind of case, we have to get prepared for a reverse. And the next reversal movement could be really, really painful. This could be really moderate as well, because oil prices and dollar prices, both of them, they're making one direction. They are going in one direction in time. Oil is rising mainly in midterm, as well as dollar prices are rising in midterm. So here the consolidation would continue. And because of this factor, the consolidation of movement continuous is more likely. Here, for now, for today, for the next sessions, 1.2640, 1.2620 are the levels which could get retested. I don't really think that they could get retested even. I think that prices are going to reverse from these levels, even despite this kind of pressure which we have here. I think that prices are going to reverse from even before the breakthrough of 1.2640. They're going to reverse. European dollar to Canadian dollar as well. Here we have some chances of downward correctional movements widening, but 1.4450, 1.44 are the levels after the retest of which we're going to get again returning to the upward movement. So pay attention on these factors. Here under this level, if we get fixed under these levels, if we get retest these levels from downside, this would be the signal of the continuance of downward movement. But in the case of this range impulsive retest with one abnormal candle, we would have the reversal of the continuance of upward movement during next sessions. And the pound to Canadian dollar. Here as well, continuation of upward movement is more likely. And let's see what's going on with Bitcoin prices and Ethereum prices. As we said from previous time, they're getting into some upward phase, which could continue. But pay attention, Bitcoin could really retest 40,000 again. 40,300, 40,000 are the levels under which if we fix, it would mean that prices are going to go lower. We just need to not to get some picture like here, as you see. For example, we have strength at above the important level of 40,000, 40,300. But after that, we got a really low amplitude. And what happened next? It was a downward movement. It was a downward impulse. So here we have as well shrinking of volatility. But this shrinking of volatility mostly looks like an accumulation of energy. So next thing that we are going to have is an impulse. If this impulse is going to be upward, the next movement is going to be continuance of downward movement. If this impulse is going to be downward, I think the prices are going to retest, for example, $43,000, $40,000, and then they're going to return to the upward movement. So we just need to wait for nearest impulse. And I think that in this case, prices, I think that they're going to make some upward movements, and they're going to at least retest, speculatively retest 50,000 or 47,000 to just make some bulls to lose some positions. But this would be a really harsh speculation in the near future. If we get above this level in the near future, if we get retest these two ranges, these two levels with one impulse, this is not a really good signal for bulls. It would mean that prices are going to reverse next. But such a moderate trend, for example, such a moderate trend here, continuous of such a moderate trend like here, would mean that prices could really continue the upward movement. We just need something like this to happen here. Moderate strengthening of prices. And if we get any impulsive movement, upward movement in near future, that would mean that prices are going to reverse. Ethereum as well showing us that prices are shrinking due to 4-hour chart. As well, we have some divergence here, and it's kind of mild, and because of that, we just remain the potential of upward impulse. But after the retest of 3,400 and after this upward impulse gets completed, we are waiting for reversal movement. So nearest upward impulse, which could make prices to reverse again. That's all I can say about cryptocurrency market for today. Thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe on our channel and ring the bell so you would know what kind of programs we have for you, and you won't actually miss any of them. Thank you again for watching this video. Until next time, have a good tradings. Bye bye.